Yes, we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Paul Bursey, and welcome to SuccessCafe.tv. And I'm based in Essex in the UK, and my co-presenter, if you'd like to introduce yourself, young Warren.
I certainly would, now that I'm getting myself settled. Sorry about the disruption there, folks. Warren Connolly here, coming to you from a snowy and cold Hungary.
Near
So
Budapest.
I'm just getting myself near Budapest. So I'm just getting myself settled in. Yes, and as I do, I just want to have a shout out quickly to everybody that's going to be watching this live or recorded. Is that Paul and I, this month of January, we're looking for 6 individuals to work with personally. And what that means is that Paul and I, we decided we want to show people a different way of how we do our business. And we want to work with 6 individuals along the journey, whatever that journey is and however long it takes until that person is successful. Until each individual is successful. That's our commitment to ourselves and to our businesses. And this is what we want to do. We want to work with 6 people this month. So yeah, give us a shout out, reach out to Paul or myself, and make sure you touch base with us as soon as possible, because we're already 4% into the year. So let's get going. Time to get going, folks.
Time accelerates, or so it seems.
Yeah.
So welcome to Facebook Live, people, and Facebook, and obviously this also goes out as a podcast. So I will apologise now. Sometimes we forget we're doing a podcast as well, and because we see things visually as well on here. But today's subject, very important, and it's getting more exciting as the year is moving on. Today's subject: adopt a no excuses approach. And look, we've all been there at some stage. We've all made excuses for different things. And so what you've got to try and do is trying to eliminate excuses from your life as much as you can. Okay. Sometimes it can be strategically important to do that. But generally speaking, we talk about business here, all right, and we talk about health and other things, and it's important, especially in those 2 areas, and sport and things like that, that you don't make excuses. There are really not very many excuses that actually hold up to examination. So many people cannot lead effectively because they spend too much time making excuses why they can't do something, right? And I think it's time to stop letting excuses control your life and hold you back. And we've all done that, as I said, and that's holding you back from living the life that you really want. I think it's a weakness to make excuses. It's something we all suffer from on occasions, as you say. And how do you feel about that, Warren? Excuses.
I mean, I agree with everything that you said. And look, I'm just as much as fault to anybody else about making excuses. And as I'm getting on in life, I'm realizing how fewer and fewer excuses I'm making in my life. And that's a good thing, I think. If we can, it doesn't have to be an immediate thing when it comes to not making excuses, because people have become so conditioned making excuses that they don't realize that they're doing it.
Yeah.
So as I've got older, I've noticed that those excuses have slowly fallen by the wayside, and I'm making less and less. And now I'm more conscious about making no excuses at all, because I've seen people that have every reason legitimate reasons to give an excuse, and they just choose not to, and they refuse to. And when I see people like that in my life or around me as well, it's very inspiring. You don't want to give excuses for no reason. And if it is an excuse, it damn well better be a good one. Yeah. So yeah, a really legitimate excuse, if that's even a thing.
I was just trying to think of an excuse. Yeah, I mean the classic one is when you're late for something. I tend to come out and say, look, I'm late because I didn't leave enough time. And I just think I'm not making an excuse. I just didn't leave enough time. It's my fault. That's it. And in round where I live in Essex, in Whittam, I used to. There's another place not that far away called Southend, and what I found was when I was driving to Southend, you'd always, if you weren't careful, you'd always be late for your appointment. Always. And the reason I called the Southend factor. And what it was, the road that you had to go down, one of the roads you had to go down, was always full of traffic. So I used to always add on 30 minutes to any journey to Southend. Wow. Okay, because I knew it was a Southend factor would always kick in.
Okay.
So it's just a simple little thing,
So you calculate that, and I used to do the same thing in Dubai. I was on the road a lot, and in Dubai, driving from location to location throughout the day and the evening. So when I used to calculate as well, because sometimes if you leave on certain roads, and this is life as well. This is a great analogy for life. Like living in Dubai, you could drive down any road at any time of the day, but depending on what time you drove down that road would depend whether you're going to be 10, 15 minutes early to a meeting or 10 to 15 minutes late for a meeting. You could leave 5 minutes after you should have, and you end up 20 minutes, 15 minutes late because of that. And that's also, I believe, it's a reflection of life in general. It depends on the opportunities. If opportunities come to you in life and you're making excuses for things all the time, those opportunities will bypass you because you're making excuses about life or for life.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. But if you're not making the excuses as those opportunities come past, you will jump on as quickly as those opportunities are going past, and you'll hit that road at the same speed. So it wouldn't matter whether you would never be late. You'd just be on time all the time. And this is life, really, the way I see it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think when I was selling solar panels, and I wasn't particularly good at it, but I remember I always left early, and I'd like it if I actually got there half an hour or 20 minutes or quarter of an hour beforehand. I'd just sit there, relax, and then you go into the appointment so much more, just feel great, And but if you're late,
yeah,
you get on the phone, you're phoning them up, saying, "Look, excuse me, there's been a lot of traffic," and normally speaking, it really wasn't the traffic. It was the fact that you didn't plan enough time to get there.
I made that mistake today. That's what I did today. Yeah. I had too much on my plate today, and I shouldn't have done that. That won't happen again.
Because actually, when you came on the call, you were still in the car.
I was driving down a mountainside, making my way to the main road.
Yeah, I was having visions of calling the air sea rescue.
No, not that kind of mountain road. No, not that kind of mountain road. No, we're talking about the suburb here, but
yeah. Anyway, so making excuses is really a negative attitude, or it is part of having a negative attitude, and that leads to negative actions, and it has a knock-on effect. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it does, because negativity begets negativity. It breeds negativity. You can have a room full of happy people, and all you need is one person to walk in a foul mood, and it affects everybody immediately. So it's just the same with your actions, inactions, your mood, your energy. It's the same with everything. And once you're in that place, then that's when it just kind of breeds more and more and more, and it gets stronger and stronger. Then it's difficult to get out of that.
And it's insidious in a way, although you don't realize it when you're making the excuse. And I would liken it to a goldfish bowl full of water that you drop one very, very minute drop of ink into it.
Okay.
And it just clouds the water, and it just doesn't make you feel very good, And so, if you can do your best, please try not to make excuses. And that's for me as well as Warren and everyone else. So, yeah. And I think, look, I wouldn't say it's as bad as being pathetic, but it's not far away. It's not far away, but it's definitely weak.
Look, it is a weakness, and that everybody is to blame for it, because we've all done it at some point in our lives. Everybody has. Even if you were a small child and you were making excuses for things, we've all done it. But as adults, we have as much as a responsibility to ourselves as we have the power and the reasoning to change that. However, I go back to the point where it's part of the psychology for majority of people is to make excuses for something, and you can't really get away from that. So when you're dealing with lots of people, it's not easy. It is a human trait. It's a fault. It's a weakness, but it's not the end of the world either. So it still can be changed. It just doesn't have to be an overnight thing. It should be, but it doesn't. That doesn't necessarily equate to that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all have the power within us, to stop any sort of negative reaction or this negative stronghold that grips us when we have to make this pathetic excuse, and as I say, it just has cause and effect, from making excuses. So, the only way to stop the negative effect of excuses is not to make any. All right, and to make. Really, I suppose, to make an immediate shift to being, immediate shift in definitely in mindset, but to making sure that you don't employ the excuse, and just tell the truth. If you're, I think that's part and parcel of it. So,
telling the truth is harder to yourself than it is to somebody else.
Oh yeah.
And this is where the issue lies. It's not as easy to tell yourself the truth than it is to tell somebody else. It really isn't. I mean, you got to face the truth yourself rather than have somebody else tell you that. So it's much harder that way. I see it the way that with most people. And again, it makes it. I know, because I've been through it and I remember what it was like. Making excuses all the time. And the more you make excuses, the further away from, I don't know how this is going to come across and how this is going to sound, but the further away from love you are. Okay, because you're not taking 100% accountability and a responsibility for your life when you're making excuses. And it may seem harsh or sound harsh, but it's the truth. You're further away from love because you're not taking 100% accountability. And this is one of the challenges of being 100% accountable. Taking action is one thing as well. It's taking action. You've got to be 100% accountable to take action. Otherwise, you're a dead ship. You're a ship dead in the water, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, because the thing is, when someone is an action taker, they tend not to think about excuses. Because you tend to want to get on and as you say, because of accountability, you're if you get used to being accountable, you're more likely not to make an excuse because
100%.
It's pointless.
If you understand the value of being accountable as well.
Absolutely.
Accountable is a nice word. I'm 100% accountable for my life. Okay, how? Show me how. Show me how you're 100% accountable for your life. When you can show me, and I'm not perfect with this either, but when you can show me what accountable looks like in your life, then I'll say, okay, now you understand what being accountable is.
I think that some people make a career out of excuses.
Yes, most definitely.
I'm not going to name anyone here, but they know who they are. No, I'm really joking. Look, until you make that shift in your mindset, you'll continue to make excuses. And
ask a snitch. They'll know. They'll tell you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They try and lessen their guilt. They try and play down their wrongdoing. All right, but it will definitely hinder your progress, especially in business. And I like the fact about we're talking about excuses, but what we're talking about is a lack of action, really. Because action takers, I don't know, they're just more responsible, I think, assuming they're pretty smart, you know. But that's what I think.
I mean, I can think of many action takers that never made excuses for their lives or in their lives, that didn't do many responsible things either. You know, some people that are action takers that don't make excuses for their lives, they've done some pretty horrible things too.
Yeah.
Because just their point of view is very different. But look, I was thinking of something I wanted to say about taking action and stuff. Yeah, I'm at fault, like, for my own business this last year, 2020. In the beginning of the year, I was on fire. I was cooking. I was taking a lot of action. And especially when COVID came around initially, you know, I was pushing myself and trying to motivate as many people as possible to keep pushing and keep adapting and keep changing, keep moving. And then I slackened off towards the end of the year, and I started making excuses, and I wasn't taking action. And then because I wasn't taking action, I was making excuses. Because I was making excuses, I wasn't taking action. So then it became this vicious cycle.
Yeah, hamster wheel.
Yeah, the hamster wheel. Yeah, and so I'm at fault with that as well. That's just recent. That just happened now. But I've decided this year it can't be it's not a sprint. It can't be, and it's not going to be. It's got to be a marathon. This is a lifelong project. Nothing else other than a lifelong project.
Lifelong project. You're right. Absolutely.
Most definitely. And whether it's with you and I, or whether it's with 10 other millionaires, it doesn't matter. You understand? It's a project, and it's lifelong. And this is about another thing with regards to accountability, action, and making excuses. Is it a sprint for you, or is it a marathon? Because if it's going to be a marathon, the excuses kind of fall away quite quickly. You realize that you're going to face some hardships and all these kind of things along the way, but you're going to have loads of fun at the same time. And you realize that when you drop those excuses, you realize it immediately. So and that's in anything in life, really. Anything in life.
So, well, going by what you're saying, we've all slackened off when we shouldn't have done. Again, some people make more of a. I think there's periods of my life where I've slackened off so much. You just, you know, you're not taking action at all. You know, and it's not good. I mean, look, a change of mindset is not a one-off thing. It's a philosophy.
Yeah,
it's something you have to work at, and something you have to be aware of when you're making excuses and not getting on with things. You know, but you have to keep these excuses at bay. There's no other way around it. You know, because it will basically infiltrate everything you do.
Do you remember that reminded me of that mental diet, that exercise that I did recently, and I've been practicing it still, not as much as I was before, because I think I'm getting much better at it. So I'm not consciously practicing it. I'm just doing it naturally as part of who I am now. But there's that 6-day mental diet. It was 6-day mental, 7-day mental diet. And you can't. Anytime a negative thought comes into your mind or into your frame, you've got to, within 7 seconds, switch and change it. You've got to change it almost instantaneously. If you don't catch yourself in the moment, you've got to start again. And what you're doing is just you're safeguarding your mind from negative interactions, negative thoughts, negative ideas. Anytime that pops up, you just clear it immediately. And you get better at doing that the more you practice it, because you've got to start over again if you don't catch yourself. So you got to start day one all over again, and you got to start it go again. But because it's so positive, people very often stick to it. You know, because it's a positive thing, so you stick to it, and it's easy to do. And once you get the hang of it, then it's even easier. So this is, I think, is a great way to overcome excuses. Is if your thinking is inherently positive. And when you train yourself to think positively, and this is the easiest tool I've discovered that helps you do that. Yeah, but it's such a powerful tool, and I believe that if anybody goes and looks for it themselves, then you find that and just start practicing it. And take it seriously though, because it becomes a way of life for you. And then then your excuses are also, again, what excuses? I can't make an excuse because that's not a positive thought. It's not a positive energy. It's not a positive thing. So
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, look, this is an amazing time to start thinking about what you want in life, and excuses don't cut it. It's as simple as that.
Oh.
I mean, look, I mean, I love New Year. I don't like doing New Year's resolutions, but it is a fun time and it's exciting, thinking about the possibilities for the new year.
Mhm.
And this year's more special than most, because of what's happened over the past year. And I think people can get in a rut very, very easily. You can make, I mean, look, I've made excuses. You can make excuses for anything, and as I say, it doesn't help you. It is really unhelpful to make excuses. And as I say, I get I wouldn't say turned on, but I get quite excited the fact that I'm not making excuses. I have none. I've got, and
Kind of like you're proud of yourself.
well, in some sort of way, yeah, in a small sort of way, you think, well, I'm glad I'm not making excuses because I know what the challenge is.
Yeah, that's going to come
I
after
know
that.
the challenge and I know what I need to overcome. And
Because you're lying to yourself at the end of the day. So it's
well,
that
you
you have to
can
start
do,
covering up.
yeah, you can do, and what you should be doing is changing the message that's in your head.
Yes.
So in other words, if you're saying I'm not very good at this, then you need to change those words. I am starting to become great at this.
Yeah.
It's just been a
And
long journey.
I mean, when you and I first started these podcasts, it was a very different experience for you doing
Yeah.
these podcasts when we first started.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'd never done podcasts per se as we're doing now. This is my first time actually doing a podcast as well.
Well, yeah, I did them with Leanne, didn't I, when I first started on
Yes.
healthylife.tv, and she went off to do her own thing, which she's really good at, and
Good.
So, but no, you learn.
Well, it opened the door. It opened the door for you and I to be doing 2 podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So sometimes when, sometimes when things happen, it just opens the door for new opportunity, and that's how you should view every time. So
there's another example, folks. Of what are we talking about? There's another example of what we're talking about.
Yeah. So when people want to start a business, and we have a business that we offer people, obviously, and with coaching and everything, and what excuses do people come up with? Name me one excuse that someone could make instead of starting a business.
Which excuses do people not come up with? That would probably be a more empowering question for the users. I mean, for the viewers. Yeah, but no excuses.
Think of one.
I mean, look, the most prevalent, I could think of quite a few, but the most prevalent ones are obviously time, money.
Whatever the first two. Yeah.
Evidence is another big thing as well.
Sorry?
Evidence. Yeah. Okay. Evidence of proof of whatever we're talking about. You understand?
Okay.
Yeah. And it's never, for some people, it's just never enough for them. No matter what you give them.
I don't have the time. Well, in relation to our business, you can start part-time.
Start anytime.
Some people start on 5-7 hours a week. So it's about allocating the time. It's about making time available, changing things up slightly. Even if you're working full-time.
Of course.
I don't have enough money is the classic one. That's probably bigger than the time one. And let's test that theory. And I've said this before on these podcasts, that if your mother was abroad and basically she was arrested for something she didn't do, but she was in a jail awaiting trial, but she could get bail if you came over and arranged it for her. Okay. But you needed to actually go there. Let's say you're in England, you want to go, and it's in America, and you had to go. It's going to cost you £5,000 with everything all in. Okay, who out there is going to find the money? Yeah, I think most people. That's assuming they want their mother to come back, of course. But
I found the money.
Yeah, you will find the money. You would
do.
do everything in your power to find the money. Now, we're not saying that a business is going to cost you 5,000, but it could cost you 1,000. It could cost you 500. Who knows? But if you really want to do something, you will find the money. That's what I'm trying to say.
Then I hope you don't want to do a McDonald's.
McDonald's. No, that's very expensive.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
anything from a $250,000 up to over $1 million, I think it is.
It's for the last I heard, it's around 4 million.
Right. That's a long time since I've really sort of checked it out.
That's the last I've heard. It was around 4 million. So I don't know. I don't know if that's validated or not.
Check things like that out, don't we? Never let your excuses stop you from getting something you want. That's what I say. Some things cost money, some things don't. So just start off with a positive attitude. Don't make excuses. Just look. I'm going to do this. That's the decision. If it's strong enough feeling within inside you, say I'm going to do this. Regardless. Okay, and then you can think about it afterwards. Don't. But a lot of people say they'd like to start a business, but never do. It could be because they're weaker. It could be that they've got an excuse. Or it could be they're just a bit flaky. I don't know.
Some people also just don't know how to say no. Some people just don't know how to say no.
Yeah, I would say.
And if you're dealing with certain cultures, especially, they just don't understand. They can't. For them to say no, it's dishonorable. In many respects. So that makes it even harder because then you never know where you stand. So, but yeah, look, I want to just before we wrap up, I want to just tell a bit of a personal story, and I think some of the viewers may have heard this before. I don't know, but when I first got into this industry, it was 2003. It was a very dark time in my life. Okay, I wasn't living on the streets, but I was homeless. I was just fortunate enough not to be living on the streets, and I got offered the opportunity by. Still happens. I got offered the opportunity by my best friend to get into this industry. An opportunity to meet somebody that would introduce me to an industry that would help me to get myself back on my feet. That best friend, Dave Ives, knows him. He knew him quite well. He subsequently passed away. And it was a tough road. I found the money. I found a way to get the money. And I got the money. And I got myself started. And it helped me get myself back to the place where I could feel proud of myself again, and I could respect myself a little bit better, and then get moving. And I've been in and out of this industry because of circumstances from, sometimes geographical circumstances or whatever. So it's been times I haven't been doing this business or being in this industry, but I've always come back to it. As soon as the opportunity arose, I always came back because this industry helped me get me back on my feet again. I was in a really dark place, and that opportunity that I was given, I was almost about to tear up there. It literally saved me in many ways, not exclusively. Obviously, I had a large part to do in that, but the opportunities helped save me. So yeah, and you can't make an excuse thereafter in that regard.
That's right. Yeah. But we like to work with people who are hungry to build. We like to work with people who are coachable and they will listen, because obviously most businesses like McDonald's even, they have a system, and one of the things that affects people when they get in business is overwhelm and confusion, so we believe, Warren and I, we believe that everything should be simple. And easy. Now that doesn't mean to say you haven't got to work hard, but everything should be easy to take in. And we've both agreed now we work in threes. So when we work with people, we never overload them, ever. and I say it's. But there's lots of things that stop people coming in. There's not just those excuses we said. There's things like fear, and that would cover quite a lot of things. But the great thing is that with fear, if you've got someone who can guide you and work with you, take you by the hand, show you the way, then that fear can dissipate very, very quickly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the other thing is difficulty. Now, people don't do things because it falls in the too difficult column. Okay. And again, if you've got someone who's actually taking you by the hand and showing you how to do things, obviously the difficulty factor it just goes. And the last one is belief, and that you can build up as you go along. Yeah. And those are the three of the big things that really affect people. So, would you agree with that?
100%. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it because all three of those affected me. So, that's once you learn the tools on how to overcome all of that and get through, then it just makes it so much easier. So I've been through that, and I want to help and teach people an easier way.
Absolutely, and we talk about this all the time. So we're both on virtually identical thinking. Not
in everything, because he supports Arsenal, but yeah.
Well, if you believe you can do it, no matter what, you'll never let an excuse stop you. It's as simple as that. And this is what this is about. It's about excuses today.
Nothing is too difficult.
Take immediate action. Come and talk to us. Whether that's to join us in business or you just want a few pointers, we're quite happy to talk to anybody at any time. Because I think everyone in business. Everyone in business should help everyone. I think.
Agree. Oh yes. If more people had that mindset, then business would just be easier, and it would be more abundant and bountiful. You know what I mean? Yeah. Business would just be different if everybody had that mindset. But yeah, we still think we need to compete against each other. Many people, I think that's the way life works. We have to compete against each other. We don't do it that way. It's not about that.
No.
There's enough for everybody to go around. That's the truth.
Absolutely.
That's the truth.
So, I mean,
anyway,
the last thing I was going to say was that life can be scary sometimes. Okay. It's different. Being scary is different for everyone. So you can't fit it in a jar.
Yeah, okay? You can't.
But the more you do something, the more you attack something, the less scary it becomes. And then when you get to the other side, you realize it wasn't as scary as you first thought it was. And it's like doing abseiling. The first time you do abseiling and you lean back on that rope, it's scary.
Yep.
But when you get to the bottom, you can't wait to get up and have another go.
Of course.
The scary's gone.
This analogy I use with people with regards to fear is that imagine back when you were a child and you at the fun fair. You're walking through the fun fair, it's dark, all the bright flashy lights are on, you got the stalls, everything like that. You go shoot a few rounds, do this, do that, throw this, throw that, win a few little gimme prizes. And then you walk through the first row of stalls, and there you see the rides. And there's the big roller coaster, and you see the loop-de-loop. If you're lucky, there's two. And you think, wow, you're about 6 years old, maybe 5 years old, wow, whatever. And you're fascinated. But the moment you get to the front of that queue, you are terrified.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're terrified because you have no idea that what's on the other side of that. Yet by the time you get there, you've already seen about 30 people come off safe and laughing and giggling and everything like that. But in your mind, what's happening is the chemical reactions that are going on in your brain and your body are exactly the same between that shocked fear and that shocked excitement about something. So you forget what it means to be excited. You think it's fear, but it's just the same thing. Because when you're now a child, your mom or your dad or your grandfather or somebody, they pat you on the head and they say, "Don't worry, it's okay, it'll be safe, don't worry." Now you're thinking, "Oh, what are they not telling me? They're not telling me something. There's something up here." You know what I mean? And this what goes through your head. So you start to equate excitement, that shock excitement, for fear. You start to think of it as that. It's now I must be scared. Okay, what they're not telling me that I need to know. And even if you go on it for another 5, 6 times, it's that first reaction that is ingrained inside of you, most powerfully, because that's your first experience.
Yeah.
So just remember that when you're scared for something like this, fearful, and you think, "Wow, I could never do this." Just remember that analogy. That could be excitement inside of you, but you're translating it as fear.
Great. Yeah. So just one last thing, for all those people on the podcast and the Facebook Live, please show the love. If you found this interesting, please like the actual post or the video, or if it's on YouTube. Yeah, do what you can to help us. That's the best thing. If you need any help, give us a shout. And you can do it through our Facebook. You can do it anywhere, really. You'll find us. My name's Paul Bursey. You can see it's Warren Connolly. And right, Warren, I'm going to give you the last word then.
Let us help you as well. Go back to what I said in the beginning of the podcast. Paul and I, we're looking for 6 people this month to begin working with, and we want to create an experience as from what we were talking about now, about how we want to show people how being in our industry can be easier. All right, and we want to work with these 6 individuals until the point at which they become successful in this business. We want to work with you from day one all the way through.
Now, I don't know if it's my internet that's lost here, but Warren, are you still there? Okay.
Oh, something happened there. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if it's your internet or mine, but just, do you want to finish it?
Yeah. So, we want to take you through an experience, a journey, working with us 6 people from the beginning to the end, to the point where you become successful in this business. This is what we want to. It's this experience that Paul and I want to create. We've been through the mill. We've learned the skills. We've learned the information, and we've planned. We've been doing our own individual planning and strategizing, and we've got together now. And this is what we want to do. And this is the year 2021, the year of action. Action has to be taken this year. And this is another one thing I'm going to be talking about, but that's a whole new podcast as to why. Okay. Good night, everybody.
We have a fantastic team here. Very big. So anyway, we're done. Thanks for your time. And as I say, get in touch if we can help you. And that's the end of the podcast. Facebook Live, YouTube video.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody.
See you later.
Share.
See you later. Bye.